Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Aminatun Solihah with student number 58. And in this occasion, I want to tell you a story, a magical tale that's been told for many, many years. It is a story about kindness, jealousy, friendship, and the power of a good heart. So get comfy, relax, and let your imagination take you to faraway kingdom. This is the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Once upon a time, in a beautiful kingdom surrounded by forests and mountains, there lived a young princess named Snow White. She was kind, gentle, and full of joy. Her skin was as white as snow, her lips were as red as a rose, and her hair was black like the night sky. But what made her truly special was her heart. She treated everyone with care, whether it is a bird, a servant, or a stranger. But not everyone in the castle loved her. Her stepmother, the queen, was a woman who only cared about beauty and power. She had a magic mirror that she spoke to every single day. She would stand in front of it and ask, "Mirror, mirror in the hand, who is the beautiful girl of them all?" For a long time, the mirror always said it was the queen, and she was pleased. But one morning, everything changed. The mirror gave a new answer. Snow White is the beautiful girl in the land. The queen's heart burned with jealousy. She couldn't believe it. Someone else, especially her stepdaughter, being more beautiful than her. She couldn't stand it. So she came up with a dark and cruel plan. She called for the royal huntsman and ordered him to take Snow White deep into the forest. He was told to get rid of her and to never let her come back. The huntsman followed orders and led Snow White far into the woods. But when the moment came, he couldn't do it. His hands shook. He saw how innocent she was, how scared, and his heart gave in. He knelt down and said, "Run, Snow White, run, and never come back. Find a place to hide." Snow White was frightened, but she ran. She ran as fast as she could, through thick trees, over rocky paths, and across cold streams. She didn't stop until she was far, far away. Eventually, she came across a tiny cottage hidden deep in the woods. Curious, she knocked on the door, but no one answered. So she gently stepped inside. Everything inside was small and neat. Seven tiny chairs sat around the table, and there were 7 little beds all in a row. Snow White was so tired, and she could hardly stand. So she curled up on one of the beds and fell into a deep sleep. Later that evening, the owners of the cottage came home. There were 7 dwarfs who worked hard every day in the nearby mines, digging for jewels and precious stones. When they entered the house, they were shocked to find someone there. But when they saw Snow White sleeping peacefully, they didn't feel afraid. They felt calm. When she woke up, Snow White explained everything. She told them about the queen and the forest, how she had nowhere else to go. The dwarfs listened quietly, and when she was done, they looked at one another and smiled. They offered to let her stay. In return, Snow White promised to help with the house cleaning, cooking, and keeping things warm and cozy. And so they began a new life together. The dwarfs went to work each day, and Snow White kept their home bright and cheerful. She sang to the birds, picked a flower, and made delicious meals. For the first time in a long time, she felt safe. But back at the castle, the queen once again stood before her mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? And again the mirror said, Snow White. The queen was shocked. She had failed. Snow White was still alive. This time, she decided to take matters into her own hands. She used dark magic to change her appearance, turning herself into an old woman with a wrinkled skin and a crooked back. Then she chose a perfect golden pear and potioned it with a power sleeping spell. One bit was enough to put someone into a deep, endless sleep. The queen, no disguise, walked deep into the forest until she reached the dwarf's cottage. Snow White was alone at that time. She saw the old woman outside and, being kind as always, opened the door to greet her. Just a little treat for such a sweet girl, the old woman said, offering the pear. Snow White, unaware of the danger, took a bite. And in that moment, she fell to the ground. When the dwarfs returned and found her, they were heartbroken. No matter what they tried, she wouldn't wake up. But she still looked so peaceful, like she was only sleeping. They couldn't bear to bury her, so they made a glass coffin and placed in the woods, surrounded by flowers. They stayed with her every day, keeping watch, hoping for a miracle. One day, a prince was riding through the forest. He had heard stories of a kind girl who once lived in the castle. When he saw Snow White lying there, still and beautiful, his heart ached. He leaned down and kissed her gently, and in that moment, the spell broke. Snow White opened her eyes. The doors cheered with joy. The forest seemed to come alive again. The prince took Snow White back to his kingdom, and before long, they were married. Snow White became a queen, not just of the land, but of the people's heart. She ruled with kindness just as she had always lived. As for the queen, she was never seen again. And from that day on, Snow White lived happily ever after, surrounded by love, laughter, and those who truly cared for her. Because real beauty doesn't come from magic or mirrors, it comes from a good heart. I think that's all from me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.